The topic that I'm dealing with is putting Sangomas out of business. These people are in full business. They are very much active, and we know. I think we have been talking about it. And there is not even one in terms of status, in terms of education, in terms of placement in life, who can say they are in my group if they don't feature. If you look at the leaders, generally leaders in the world, if you read some stories, they might be false, they might be true, but if you read stories about our leaders everywhere, you'll find that there are some indications that they visit quite a lot. I'm not talking about church now. I'm out of the church. If you go to, especially, let me go back to my country, Zimbabwe. These people are visit all the big prophets. You see them walking with them. They even put their garments. And they also, you hear stories about them visiting all the traditional healers that can be there. Recently, there was one of the traditional healers who died. And we didn't know him. Some of us had never heard about him. But as soon as that traditional healer died, all the newspapers published him, that the traditional healer has died. And there is a queue of people who wanted to take back the charms that he had given. Because I think they feared, because those things seemed to be dangerous if they kept them when he was dead. So there was a queue, and you could hear the names of ministers, you could hear the names of every other person. I wonder if there wasn't any one of our members because there were business people, there were all these kinds of people. So this man was in full business. And so I want us to look at that from today and say, is the church so hopeless that it cannot help people that have those kinds of needs? That's the question that we are asking. So I said the topic is putting Sangomas out of business, confronting a resilient folk leader psyche among Adventists. So when we deal with this issue of Sangomas, let me just try and give you a Sangoma is a diviner. That's an easy one. The diviner is a spiritual ritual specialist in the ATR. He diagnoses, he unveils, he reveals problems that people face, and also solves past, and sometimes he tries to even prevent problems from the future. So he promises everything. He can deal with the past, he can deal with the present, he can deal with what? The future. So he protects the home, he protects the crowd, he protects the business, he enhances the home, he enhances the business, he enhances, he helps even if you are failing to get children, he helps in those kinds of things. So this is a Sangoma, and in our, he is both a herbalist and also a spiritual person who can prophesy, if I would use that word. So this person who does those things has assumed a status in the past. Before the church came, they assumed a status which was almost equivalent to kings. They were assistants to kings, and they were the ones who would help them when kings were in trouble. So this person, when the gospel came, unfortunately there was something that happened. You would know, it is in historical terms, you would know that the gospel had been tempered by the Enlightenment. And so people had started to think in other terms. They started to not believe in mystery, in spirits, in miracles. So they thought that those things were just fiction. The imagination of people's, they were creativity. People were creative, and they started thinking about miracles, started thinking about spirits. Let me just say, before I go further, I've described that this Sangoma has a status, big status in a community, that people know him. He does not even need to advertise. People know him, they refer each other to him. As soon as he is there, they will be referring each other. So there's no advertisement, there's nothing. There's no placards, there's no need for anyone to look around. They are known. And sometimes in certain places, they are in a village setting. You know, when children are born, sometimes they are given some charms to protect them. We know that. So when the Sangoma, some of these Sangomas, when he's in a village, he may be the chief Sangoma in the village, that no child born in that village should pass without getting some charms from him. It is in those villages they believe if you don't take the child to him, the child will die. So people have fear. I'm dealing with fear now. So people have fear. You are in that village where this Sangoma is, and it's known, and everybody tells you, you can't have a child here without taking him to this Sangoma. So you are a Christian and you know it. And probably you have heard about deaths, because the stories are told all over the place that this one did not take the child there, so the child has died. So you know the issue of cause. In the African scheme of things, nothing happens by chance. We have been hearing that today. Nothing happens by chance. Everything that happens has a cause, a spiritual cause. The questions that are asked, what or who? The how may be asked, but it's not the important question. The question is what caused it and who caused it. So those two questions. So the person who has the answer to those questions is who? The Sangoma. And in the church, we seem to not have anything that could relate to some of those things that can give a person the knowledge of the future. For now, we seem to be short of that. I hope that by the end of this presentation we'll have. And we don't seem to be able also to tell of the past things that would have happened. So there is a challenge. And so I hope that by God's grace we will be able to see how a Sangoma can be relegated to not work in the church. The other thing that I wanted us to get to, I said we want to deal with the issue of confronting the resilient psyche. Resilient psyche. The word psyche deals with the mind and deepest feelings. And these feelings and the mind control attitudes and behavior. So in the mind of an African who understands and believes in the myriad of spirits that we have been discussing, some of them are what we discussed last was ancestral what? Spirits. And we also discussed about the spirits that are not related to the people by blood, but those that occupy spaces. Some of the river spirits, some on the mountain spirits, some they occupy certain shrines and trees all over the place. This is the folk religion. In the afternoon we're going to get the folk religion. I'm not going to get there. But the issue is that spirits are everywhere. And now this person knows that these spirits can be angry and they can attack at any point. And so the whole concept now is, how can I be safe in the midst of these spirits? And so the Sangoma then presents himself as the one who is immediate between the people and the spirits. So because he is a mediator, he has access to the spirits and he has access to the people. Then the Sangoma becomes the representative of the people to the spirits. And then he becomes the representative of the spirits to the people. So he speaks for the spirits to the people. And he also speaks to the spirits for the people. So there is that exchange. And so this person is in the center of everything that's happening in the community. So he's unavoidable. And now when people convert to Christianity, to our church, they have been working with this person who is unavoidable, who is in the center of the community. And so we'll see how this plays out. So when the Sangoma then is there, as I've described, and the people have this kind of mindset, and they are so sure, they believe so much in the spirit that you can't tell them not to fear. So if I tell, you shouldn't fear, like we have the verses, you should not, the Bible says, don't fear, I'll be with you. I have said this sometimes as I was growing up at home, at night, in the rural setting, we'll be sent, this house is, the other one is here, the other one is there, and you are sent at night, and you are afraid, and the parents say, we are looking at you, just go. So we used to go, but when you are talking to someone who is old, who knows that when you say are looking, you are not even looking. There is doubt even about whether God is looking, whether He is watching. Because we in the morning we did discuss, and someone said, this suffering we see, when someone is confronted by these issues and you are alone, and we have had 2-3 children dying, there's a case and point which I want to refer to. One time, this one was some family, they had a child, first child. They had been praying to get a child, and by God's grace they got a child. And that child, in a few days' time, before they even enjoyed the experience, passed away. They prayed again. Coming to church, to the pastor, prayed again, they had another child. That one also passed away. And then they prayed, because they were really serious Christians. They prayed to the pastor again. That this time they have a child, but the child is crippled. Then the person asked the question, is God there? When things are like this. So the issue of having children, at least it showed, the issue of pain and God's presence in the life may be two things that are very difficult. Some of us may have faced some of those things and have had those questions. So when somebody is afraid, let's not take it for granted. They are what? They are afraid. And we should deal with that. So what I want to say is that in the situation we are dealing with, this worldview is so dominant in the communities. But I want to just digress a little bit. Paradoxically, while we have this dominant worldview, we have very high baptisms, especially in the global south, where there is this very dominant worldview. Have you seen that? What is happening here? The very dominant worldview is in the global south again. And it seems that in the north it's a little bit silent, but it's not silent because we have other things that are happening there. The devil pretends not to be there when he's really seriously working. Because we have all the New Age movement, we have channeling, we have the stars, astrology, we have all those things. So the devil has really taken over that community. It's not be told that he's not there. He's now working from the remote, he's just sitting back, he's enjoying life. Yeah. This time, in Africa, he's still active a little bit, he's jumping and we see his face. But in other places, you can see. When you try to preach, nobody converts. What is the reason? They are being held back. There's no story there. So they have been captured for now. I'm saying the dominant worldview, the paradox that I have, the dominant worldview of what the African traditional religion, which is folk, which is close to animism also. It's very dominant, but we preach simple sermons and people convert. And in the morning we're dealing with this, the presentation. How do you suppose that this person who converts so easily can come and stay when they have these fears that are around and the stories in the community are not so good? In Zimbabwe, you hardly have a day when you buy, if you look around, just scan all the papers, newspapers, there's hardly a day when you don't get a chilling story. Whether someone has been killed for ritual purposes, whether somebody has been kidnapped, they are no longer, you cannot see them again, and you don't know who took them away, it's a child. So people are so scared. We hear a story that we have these small cars that people use as taxis. There is warnings every day, don't ride on those cars. What happens, at some point there was a story that if you are a woman, there is something that these guys will be carrying, some frog. It will suck. It will suck and then you die. So people, the fear is palpable. I'm talking to someone here. Yeah. The fear is so palpable that these people, so the people need protection. The fear is so palpable. Every day you read a paper, you listen to news, the stories are there. So the fear is so palpable. But now I'm asking about this paradox I'm giving you. Then these people are converting so easily. And in the morning I said that we don't even have a baptismal class. We have a 2 weeks campaign. And these people get baptized. And after that they are abandoned in the church. They have to see for themselves. It is now that I want to say that those fears cannot just disappear without being dealt with intensely and systematically. They are so much that the persons will just come to church and enjoy the singing. And sometimes they're not even listening to the word. I've already said that many of these people who convert, some of them just disappear. When they leave the church, you don't get to know where they are. You can see them in the community at some point. They just disappear because there is an open door. The back door has never been what? Closed. It was never even, the one that is the front was not even opened. It was not fully open because this person just passed through. Why do they go back? This is another part I want us to look at. In most mainline churches, including the SDA church, the Bible is read for intellectual understanding of faith. The result is emphasis. When we read that, the result is emphasis on the creeds, when those that have creeds, and on the statement of fundamental beliefs. And we hope that by emphasizing the fundamental beliefs, people will then understand and be able to stand the pressures of life and even the temptation, and even be able to stand against this fear that is so palpable. But I want to point out that this kind of teaching has emptied the gospel of its power. The gospel has some power and it has been emptied. If we deal with fundamental beliefs and teach for intellectual and cognitive accent to beliefs, we will have lost it. The person is emotional. There is an affective side of people. People are emotional. They have an affective side, which has other issues that come in. While they are intellectual beings, which they think rationally, they are so also what? Affective, emotional. And they're also what? Evaluative. They have those things that they see beauty and they want to participate in beauty. So when we have people that have been taught intellectually alone, there is a problem. The Bible has been understood apart from its own cultural context, especially regarding to the issue of spirits and miracles. Let me go back. If you go back to when the Bible was written, and you look at the issues that some of them have been cited, let's go together. I will not try to interrogate much, but 2 cases in the Old Testament. The first case being Moses and Pharaoh. You remember that? When you deal with Moses and Pharaoh, there is reality there. There is the reality of the snake that God has what? Has afforded Moses to have. He carries a stick, goes to Pharaoh, and there is reality there. He throws that stick and it becomes what? A snake. But when he's there, you find that the devil is able to counterfeit. Let's go together. The devil is able to what? To counterfeit. Fortunately, there is show of power by the Almighty, which we have already spoken about that. The power encounter is critical and key. While Pharaoh did not believe, but he at some point got fed up. He said, now I have seen that God is God, go. While he followed and died. But the issue is the power encounter thing is not something that has come from a missiological, someone who was thinking so creative. It is a key biblical concept that God sometimes has to show his power so that people see. There are several other instances that you see God doing that, and the world comments. Especially you can go to Nebuchadnezzar. There is no other God except the God of what? Daniel. There is no other God except the God of what? So this is power encounter, where people see God face to what? To face. So the question is, how and why is it that in the current setting, there are so few and probably none of those encounters that can be put forward by the church, which is so huge. Let me say, this church is so what? So huge. If you talk about only this country where we are, if I were to say how many pastors do we have in this country, in these two unions, is it 2 or 3 now? Pastor, how many pastors do we have? 1,000. But it's so quiet. This is the paradox I want us to do. It is so quiet, and one of the in Zimbabwe there is one Johan Masowe, pastor is a pastor of the Pentecostal church, Johan Masowe. This guy is a Pentecostal guy, and this guy is a prophet, and this is a prophet who works in the very same mode of the diviners, Sangomas. So when he started this church, it has been growing. It is now a huge, huge church. So one of the members was interviewed. He said, you know what? I am now in the real thing. We used to go to the mainline churches, and there we were given Bibles to read. And the stories we read in the Bible were talking about things that Jesus did. When Jesus, we're reading about Jesus doing things, and the apostles doing things. The things that they were doing, the people who were crippled were what? Were meant to walk. The ones who were blind were meant to what? To see. And they mentioned, and some of the dead were what? Resurrected. Now we were reading about that, but we never ourselves practiced that. We only knew that this thing was happening in Jerusalem, and that was it. But now we see it in our own what? Church. So let me see this. How does it work out that the ones who have we say they are faking it, eh? They are faking it. But the promise of God is there also. That you will do greater works than I have done. So it means that there is a problem of linkage. There's a problem of what? Of linkage. A problem of revival. And a problem of linkage in the church. Are we really sure we are connected? One. Are we really sure we are the right church? Are we the remnant church through whom God will complete his work? Are we really sure we are there? So I will say something that has been said already. It would seem like the church is being sucked out. The power of the church has been sucked out somehow. And there is a possibility that there are fewer of us who are still Nazareth. There could be. The question was, why is it that even us, the clergy, are afraid of the Spirit? Let me attempt to say a few things on the Spirit side. Maybe before I go there. The problem that has been identified here, which we are dealing with, I want just to read for you here. Fear of the spiritual forces, ancestors, curses, magic, witchcraft, sorcery, and all such kind, still, up to this day, drives some of our members to God and seek help from the Sango. When the pastor is there in the church on Sabbath, we pray for them, we pray with them, we sing together, we do visitations together, we go to evangelize together. But when we're coming out from the evangelism, the person that we're working together to go and preach to someone leaves and goes to what? To a Sango. Is it not this? Is it not a kind of a, what do you call this? This is something. In 2016, there was a mission conference in the GC. And the papers that were written there, one of them was written by Dr. Pardon Mwansa. In the reports, 300 of our members of the church, one, had been disfellowshipped or membership removed because they had all gone to what? To some cleansing ceremonies, to witch hunting and so on and so on. This thing is happening. And I had an experience in Zimbabwe of almost 250 people going and we had assist them. When we were asking questions as to whether they were forced, people came out and said, no, we also have problems among ourselves because we think so. So we wanted to go so that so and so gets what these things are taken away. So I'm saying that this issue of fear is real in our church, and therefore we need to take some time and deal with it. To dismiss these stories that we hear as if they are inconsequential is defeating the whole purpose of our calling. The stories are not religiously neutral. These stories I'm talking about, when you hear people say, some child has been taken and there's some parts taken out, that thing is a religious connotation. And when someone has a house that is haunted, that is a religious what? Situation. So these stories tell that the devil is more powerful than what? Than God. So there's a problem that we need to really work out and resolve. All these stories are laden with belief, therefore, they have capacity to disintegrate the faith of the members, even those who are strong. I want to talk about the dead right now and go to the issue of the spirits. The dead in Africa are not what? Are not dead. That's the world. They are the living what? Dead. And they are called ancestors, and we have names that we give them in every other language. Relationships play a key role in the African traditional religion. What is that? Relationships. So people are related with the past, the last lesson we had. They are related to the ancestors, they born the one that have just died, and then they are related to the spirits. So this is a community. This is a community. Are we talking about a community here? Yes. We are talking about a community of the seen and unseen. But these people interact and work and deal. And so, because there is a community, when people then convert, let's go back to conversion. When people convert to the church, the community they were in does not want them to go to the other community. And the community that they were in wants them back, so they have rebelled. Let's go to the rebellion. They've done what? They've rebelled. And now they are going to be, that community does not work only by persuasion like the church. It works by force and by inducing fear. So when people come, and the devil, since he's still active, while he's a defeated foe, he's still what? Active. He does a few things to scare people away. And so people get to see things, to hear things, to see and feel things. They are walking, they feel that there's someone who's following. They are sleeping, as the prophet was saying, they feel that there was someone who's choking them. And they start to see birds that they don't like to see, because birds are, some of these birds have stories around them. And they start to hear them. At night the bird is up on the roof and doing what? Yes. So the person starts to see that I'm being followed, and they are naturally going to go to default mode. So the relationships, I want to go back there. The relationships play a central role in people reverting to African traditional religion or staying in the church. Let's come back here. So this person has come to the church and baptized after a few days of preaching, and he gets to the church. He does not get a closer relationship with any of the church leaders. Nobody knows where they stay. Nobody has prayed for them. No one is coming. No church is coming. So they go back to the very same community and live in that community. So the challenge we have here is that the people are taken out of their community and made to be lonely in the new community. So the issue that I'm bringing up is that there is a need for us to create a community of the saints, so that the people who come to church find a community ready to deal with issues that they are facing. In Africa, there is fear, and fear causes people to seek for power. Let's go together. Yeah. Fear means let's people to seek for what? For power. And so when they are fearful, they want power to secure their lives. And I wanted to say to you, the whole existence of an African is to get a good life. The whole concept about the African today is to get a good life. Getting a good life means I should pass at school. Getting a good life means I should have a child. Getting a good life means I should be promoted. Getting a good life means I should get work. Getting a good life means... So all these things are key. So if there is a problem in any of these areas, this person will be tempted to end up going to those places. So what we want to say is that for every fear, there must be a substitute that we create as a church. That's the theological part of it. There must be a substitute. This person wants to have a child, and the church must be able to support by all means and be part of the community. They must have empathy and a sympathy and be with that person, so that even if they don't have a child, so when we have explained it theologically and biblically, that God gives is a gift from God, and we give them examples of those who didn't have children. They must feel that they are loved and they are part of the church and that they are accepted. So because it's a negation of life not to pass at school. So people want power to pass and they use charms. So people want wealth and they have to go to. So if we are going to be working as a church, we need to see that when people go to plow their fields, the church must be there with them. Pray for the seed. Because if you don't pray and pray for the field, the Sangoma gives them something to use in the field. The kraal, you go to the kraal. You pray for the cattle and the cows and the sheep. Because if you don't do, the Sangoma will do it. For every activity in life is a spiritual connection. So the church has neglected doing those small duties in the communities. And these things are the ones that have caused people to go. So if somebody's cows have been dedicated to the Lord, they can even easily be able to give tithe. And the issue that I wanted to also highlight here, life in the African context is a spiritual combat. It's a battle. And it's a battle for survival. So while we have seen that it's a battle for survival, the issue of the spirits, we have dealt with them quite a lot. Since it's a battle of survival, the person feels very, very threatened, and they need all the support that they can have. And I have said it, there must be no time when there is a void in their lives. I see that my time just went. Yeah. The issue of healing. As a church, I've already said that the Pentecostal church has created a situation where they have a healing ministry. And people are flocking. They live on Sabbath, they come to our church, and they flock on Sunday to the Pentecostal church. And so what we need to do, praying for the sick, it needs to be a ministry on its own. That becomes a substitute. And then the Sangoma will not find any work. If we pray for the sick, we go to the fields, we dedicate the children, we dedicate the fields, we dedicate the cars, we do everything for the saints, they will find that the church is supportive of every activity and is part of their life, and they are in a community of love. And when that is done, the church is safe. The people will stay. the biggest problem which I wanted to deal with was death. Death is a very big issue in Africa. While people believe in the ancestors, nobody wants to die. And so when death threatens, people will run away. And I want to say that the assurance of salvation is an issue in the African church. If I were to call and ask and say, good afternoon, saints, in a church, sometimes there is no response. There is a problem in our church of the assurance of what? Salvation. And we think we need to work on that issue. I'm not saying that people should then jump and say we are the saints, we are saints, we are holy. But the issue of that issue of salvation is lacking in our church. People don't have the assurance of salvation. And therefore, because of that, they can try both worlds. Because for an African, he's existential in his life and is pragmatic. From the background of an African, there is existentialism that what works for me, pragmatism, I do. And I want it when? Now, existential. So there's no time for waiting. So I live now, I don't live tomorrow. I don't want the fire in the air. Now, I need it. And then, what works, I take. So when we don't deal with those issues, we find that our people are not safe and they suffer. So, because there is this worldview, the issue of worldview transformation does not happen in a day. The issue of worldview transformation does not happen in a day. So, issues that we need to engage in, spiritual disciplines, the discipline of prayer, the issues of worship, the issues of even ministry, giving ministry, doing something for God, participating and being involved. That's another one that I want us to know. And when people are busy working for God, it is difficult for them to find time to do other things. The issue of the covenant, we did talk about it. The issue of the covenant. God is always in a covenant relationship. And when He is in a covenant relationship, God promises to do things for us. And we promise to do things for Him. And in a covenant relationship, this thing should always be noted, that there is no way in a covenant relationship that someone can live any other one independently. In a covenant relationship, no one lives another independently. God promises that I will be with you. So when He stands up and stands up for you, God will not abandon you.